Oh, where was the asshole? I wonder if I can talk to him. I don't know if he's hanging around somewhere or not. Pilfer some food. What, from right in front of him? Okay.
Hey, what are you doing, groundling?
We're still eating here. Why don't you go and get your own portion?
Maybe I will. Oh, I see. We got 17 days worth of food now. 19 now.
Of the 200 or so people selected to learn the art of magic under Lot Yonan, there's barely a handful of them you can stand the sight of. You're not at all interested in magic in all its elusiveness and whimsy. Your realm is the Forge.
Yeah, alright. I thought maybe one of those would be that that Famuli or whatever that was giving me shit earlier. It could be like, I get to go outside. But no. And actually, I think the way out's probably, yeah, that's not the way out there. That'd be a shitty entrance. This looks a bit more grandeur. And I'd assume this is actually just like leading out to, no, that definitely looks like it's outside, like it could have left at any time? Question mark? How have I never seen the sky? Look, I see grass.
How nice to see you again, Lot Yonan. It must have been an age since we last met face to face.
Nudin, welcome. Please, sit down.
No, thank you, my friend. These are urgent matters, and I don't have much time. You must come to Leos Nudin immediately. The perished land is stirring.
Are you sure? What makes you think that?
I found out about 60 orbits ago, during a visit to the borders. Our magical barriers have weakened and become porous. The Elfar have left their land, and a huge horde of orcs have marched into Girdlegard.
Were you able to strengthen the spell with your magic?
No. I can't repair the damage alone. We need the combined power of the 6. The other 4 are already on their way here, but we need your help too.
I will set off for Parista without delay.
Oh, and as you're coming, could you also take the opportunity to bring back the things that I lent to you?
Of course. I have them already packed in a bag.
Oh, thank you. We'll be expecting you.
Utterly blinded by the sunlight, you squeeze your eyes tightly shut after only a few steps. The time spent underground has made you so sensitive to light that you're forced to seek shelter in the shade of a mighty oak.
Right. What else is down there? It's like, what's happening? So, the map seems quite large. We're being sent out to deliver stuff to the guy who was just there, and apparently... yeah, that's not evil at all. And apparently there's a shitload of orcs and Alfar? Alfar being like what that giant white dude was 1,000 cycles ago, who was most certainly evil. This is quite a large map, actually. So do I just... oh, I see. Okay. Waypoints.
You reach a small lake by a birchwood. Your feet hurt and your eyes still sting in the unaccustomed sunlight. But a smile spreads across your face nonetheless. You've covered a decent distance on the first day of your big journey. You pitch your camp and lie down to sleep on the hard forest floor. When you awake in the morning, your legs are stiff and achy. Trying not to feel sorry for yourself, you throw your rucksack over your shoulder. You're a dwarf, and dwarves don't complain.
True that. So it looks like it's one of these is a day. Now we're at 17 food. It's been 4 days. I see. Okay, so we got a question mark here. We're heading over there. We've got, I presume, 17 days to do it. 5. This is the only way across, it looks like. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we can go on a bit of a diversion, but not too much. So let's head for that question mark first thing, I suppose.
Midday, with the sun high in the sky and the first beads of sweat appearing on your forehead, you see something move next to the road, a few hundred meters ahead. Some crows are pecking at something in the long grass.
More food? I assume these choices have consequences, and I'd like to think, I mean, it's a bit meta, but I'd like to think that if you didn't grab the food at the vault, this is how you get it otherwise, so this probably happens if you go this way as well. So it's probably okay. We'll sneak up to the crows.
The creaking leather armor, the clattering rucksack, and a dwarf's inability to be quiet makes the crows flap around as you move from one bush to another. You give up trying to be stealthy, stand up straight, and see 2 human bodies in the flattened grass.
Oh shit, it's like a proper event. Wow, look at that! Whole lot of foliage, so this probably looks pretty poop on YouTube, but yeah, this is kind of cool. So where do we got? Okay, there's a body here, and yeah, the bush highlighted. We'll examine the bush.
Nothing.
I wonder if that's like supposed to be a berry bush or something. We can maybe get some food while we're here.
Nothing again.
You halt. There is something.
A rucksack. Did someone hide it in the bushes, or was it thrown in there?
Search?
You open the rucksack and recognize that someone has already rummaged through it. As well as some implements and writing utensils, you find a pouch full of gold and a talisman. The gold is proof that this is not a case of robbery.
Well, not necessarily. If it was thrown in here, it could have been thrown into here by these guys before the assailants noticed. I don't know. Maybe. It's possible. Go for the talisman?
Warmth and a feeling of security flush through your body as you touch the talisman. You feel safer just holding it in your hand.
I'm taking you with me.
No, but it's magic. It'll explode. Oh, okay. I can take the gold too. Good. Nice. And we got what looks a bit like a hitching post or a gallows. Talisman of Protection. Simple. Damage is received. There's a 50% chance of reducing the damage by 50%. That might go well with Stubborn. So if our health is less than 30%, we gain bonus armor, and there's a chance that stuff will not hurt us. So like this guy's gonna be like really clutch when he's low on health, which is really dangerous. But still, I like that. Any other bushes? That's a good find. I do wonder if it's random or scripted though. Like I'm sure this encounter is probably scripted because it happened at midday. Well, I don't know. Maybe you can find this at any time. Yeah, let's examine the body.
A slender man
There's another
lies
one
in
there.
front of you,
And
dressed
there.
in an expensive robe. It is in the colors of Turgur the Fair-Faced, one of the 6 magi. The dead man must be one of Turgur's famuli. You don't see any wounds.
Turgur. Tagoran. Okay. So some other guy. Turn the body over.
Ivrakis.
There are some narrow stab wounds in the man's chest. The cuts are too big to have been made by arrows, but too small for sword wounds.
Mysterious. And that corpse is done. Next.
You look down on a tall, broadly built man. He's wearing dark brown leather armor that is strengthened with iron plates. There's a sword lying next to him. Was he trying to defend himself against something? Or someone. There is no blood on the sword. The man has the same incisions. It's clear that both men were killed by the same weapon. But what that weapon might be, you cannot say.
Oh. Oh, it's a rucksack. I thought that was another body.
Probably belonged to one of the dead. It seems to have been searched and then thrown away carelessly. You find a few implements, some provisions, and a map. A route is drawn on it from Porista, Nudin's capital, to Lot-Yonan's vaults.
Does this mean that Turgur the Fair-Faced is in Porista and wanted to send Lot-Yonan a message? And if so, why didn't he use magic? Did he want to contact him without anyone noticing? Why all this secrecy?
Something's fishy, and there doesn't seem to be anything else anywhere. Except those rocks, apparently. I kind of wish there was like a highlight thing, because this is a bit annoying, just hovering over everything, being like, oh, is there anything? Like, these rocks apparently don't stand out. Or apparently tracks, look for tracks. There's nothing here to stand out to make you think, oh, I'll hover over that.
You don't see any signs of a struggle in the area where the corpses are lying. Were they stabbed by a companion? A stranger could hardly have crept up on them with such sparse cover.
There's pretty decent cover here. But I guess you'd sort of make a lot of noise moving through this. Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe we got everything here. So we got 22 food. Yay! So we can take quite the nice. Oh, I can't go over there. All right, and proceed on my way.
Once more, and ask yourself what to do next. It's time-consuming and strenuous work digging shallow graves in the ground with a stick, and covering the corpses with a few stones. But it should at least keep the crows from their feasting for a while. You continue on your way so as to put a few more miles between you and your grisly find before night falls.
Damn mouse. So that was an interesting little thing. Let's continue on for that question mark, though. I am curious about this, and there's something else moving up here. A dwarf merchant. Maybe if we get a little more food. I wonder if one of these towns has a shop that we can buy food at.
You see a flickering light through the trees some way from the path. It might come from a campfire.
Probably the dwarf merchant would have food on there, actually. Thinking about it. Flickering light, campfire. Well, we don't sneak well. We already tried that before.
You walk towards the fire with confident strides until you finally make out 3 broad-shouldered men with axes. 2 rabbits are sizzling over the fire. The men are joking with one another, but you can only understand the odd word. They haven't noticed you yet.
Fuck it.
Once you reach the edge of the firelight, you say amicably,
"Greetings. My name is..."
The men jump up and grab their axes.
Who's there?
Well, I'll be. Is that a groundling?
The men look you over suspiciously.
My name is Tungdil. May I know with whom I have the pleasure?
Clueless.
A perfect stranger, a groundling speaking like a king. We are woodcutters. Talk our language, or better still, get lost.
I only wanted to be polite.
Sod your politeness and your pretty words, Grandling, and be off with you.
The man strengthens his grip on the axe and glares at you with sinister yellow eyes.
Put down your weapons or I'll be forced to use mine.
You threatening us, Grandling?
Just straight up attack? Let's use Intimidate.
Now consider this. I am a dwarf with an axe, and I don't use my axe for cutting down trees.
The men are visibly unsettled and lower their axes a little.
Check on.
I thought so.
You turn your back on the men and walk back to the path confidently. You don't hear any steps behind you, and only once you've put distance between you do you dare look back over your shoulder. None of the men have followed you. You sigh with relief. It could have ended up a very painful experience if you'd provoked the men or shown them any weakness.
But I think I probably missed out on food. We got 50 experience though. I probably missed out on some food, and they may have had like some items to loot or something. Let's go for this place here, Farmstead. Might have food to buy.
As the gable end of a small farmhouse and a barn appear from behind a hilltop, you hear the loud cries of children at play. A girl runs along the path laughing, followed by a small boy with a big stick in his hand. The boy is trying to catch up his sister with a determined look on his face, but is finding it difficult to keep his short legs under control on the uneven path.
Just sit there and stare.
The boy trips and falls to the ground with a bump. Before the girl can reach him to help, he picks himself up and grabs the stick to continue the chase. In doing so, he catches a glimpse of you, and his eyes grow wide. All he manages to say is, "There," as he points towards you with a chubby little finger. Now the girl has turned to face you too. Before you can say a word, she lifts her little brother up into her arms and runs screaming towards the farmhouse. Without rushing, you follow the children to the farmhouse, into which they've disappeared. After a few moments, they reappear, accompanied by their parents. Their father is a thick-set man with grey hair.
I am Opatia. This is my wife, Remsa.
The blonde woman nods a greeting almost imperceptibly and clasps her daughter tightly to her. She looks you over with an anxious expression.
It's a pleasure to meet you. My name is Tungdal.
You try to make your voice sound as harmless as possible.
Had 2 travelers pass by here in the last few days. What, from the scene back there? I must have missed that. 2 travelers.
I'm sorry if I scared your wife and children.
The man waves dismissively.
No. It's just that my fair woman is especially jumpy these days.
The orcs have been spotted near Calmstead. You should take it more seriously.
The farmer's wife clutches her daughter even tighter before the girl finally protests. The boy steps forward excitedly and cuts the air with his stick.
If strangers come, we're supposed to run away, but I can hit them too.
Opatia pats his son on the head, laughing.
We're safe. The orcs have no reason to come so far north.
Wouldn't it be better to move to one of the bigger villages if there are orcs around?
The farm is our livelihood. You can't just leave the place. The fields don't look after themselves. King Tilagorn's cavalry will take care of the orcs, or Lord Yonan and his magi.
But the cavalry can't be everywhere at once. Even a handful of orcs would be enough to finish us.
Once the seeds are planted, I'll build the hideaway, just as you wish. But what use is a hideaway if we've nothing to eat in the autumn?
We can't be sure whether the orcs will come here, but what is for certain is that you will starve without a harvest.
That's exactly what I said.
Opatia lays a hand on his wife's shoulder.
Don't worry, I'll build a hideaway as soon as everything else is taken care of.
But...
Trust me, even the good dwarf here says it is so. And if anyone knows about orcs, then it's the dwarves.
Remsa nods slowly, then looks towards the ground glumly.
If you say so.
Yeah, they're so fucked. Orcs didn't come and they're gonna be like the first ones dead, I bet. God damn it. Well, let's go about the travelers. I'm not sure what that relates to.
Over the last few days, have you seen 2 travelers heading east?
Opatia looks at his wife, but she shakes her head.
Why do you ask?
Oh yeah, the bodies themselves. Oh yeah.
I found them. 2 dead bodies on the side of the road. A good day's march east from here.
dead bodies?
She hastily covers her son's ears.
Was it orcs?
Remsa, what would orcs be doing up here? It was probably just bandits.
You bid farewell and set off on your way. The children follow you for a while, before saying their goodbyes in laughter and running back towards the farm.
Well, apparently orcs come from the south, which I assume this is like northeast, southwest. So I don't know where the orcs would be coming from, actually. I mean, I imagine I can eventually head south and like these markers just sort of appear eventually, but we are heading toward this guy and then we'll see if it opens up then. There's a lot of shit over here though. Look at all this area. I kind of want to explore. I kind of want to see that dwarf merchant thing. It's a dwarf merchant. Not just like a merchant, but it's also a fellow dwarf. We gotta check him out. And heading to Goodwater, which seems to be the only way across this river that I'm seeing.
You look down on a large village on the banks of the Warder. Some of the village is built on stilts in the river. A wooden bridge spans the fast-flowing water. A huge wooden palisade has been erected to protect the village from attack. Your eyes roam the land on the other side of the river. You estimate that you will soon have completed half of the journey to Blacksaddle, but you still can't make out the mountain on the horizon.
Almost there, but not quite.
The guards on the palisade are watching you. Their armor looks well cared for and well made. The smith who made them knew what he was doing. You conclude that the men depend on the protection the armor offers and aren't just wearing them to look good. They're certainly not villagers.
Another event. Interesting so far, but a bit slow, so I don't know. We'll see. It's probably just like, you know, exposition and all that. And check this place out, though. Man. Hello?
The double gate is made of strong planks. Sturdy, but still much less solid than the fixed parts of the palisade. Security has been forgone here for practical reasons. Never a good idea when building fortifications.
Unusual part of the palisade.
The stakes look a bit different here. You want to look a little closer, but the guard on the other side is vigilant.
Get lost!
Aw. This place isn't very friendly.
The wooden palisade encompasses the whole of the large village and is guarded by many men in armor. The stronghold has been constructed in haste, probably only over the last few days. But the work is sound, and uninvited guests should find it difficult to gain access.
And then skulls.
Orc skulls?
You're not sure it's wise to taunt the beasts with the severed heads of their fellow kind. Some of the guards begin to whisper as you near the gate.
Hello up there!
What brings you to fair good water? And have you seen any orcs on your travels, Groundling?
The man leaning over the palisade eyes you up and down carefully.
Let's not go for intimidate on these guys. I think they've got the literal high ground here.
Goodwater is well known for its hospitality.
A fact that you've just made up yourself.
Let me in, and I will tell other travellers all about it.
I regret to inform you that we cannot allow you to enter. The gates stay closed once night has fallen.
There is certainly no regret showing in the man's face. The orc heads on the spears look fresh, a fact that causes you unease for more than one reason.
Those won't scare orcs away.
I hope not. The more orc heads that end up on those spears, the more gold coins that end up in our pockets. Right, boys? Yeah! That's right! Yeah! We've killed our fair share of orcs and know how to motivate them. Those ugly mugs will spur them on, and then they'll perish in front of our gates.
Two things become clear to you. Firstly, that the mercenaries the villagers have hired are excellent at killing orcs, and secondly, that they sadly have no brains at all.
When did you kill these orcs?
Yesterday. We caught a couple of their scouts first. The others tried to take revenge in the evening. Let's see who'll turn up today.
I'm a blacksmith. And a dwarf. Let me tell you, your gate might look solid, but it won't withstand a real orc assault.
The murmuring all around him makes the man pause for a moment. If anyone else had criticized the stronghold, they'd have been laughed down and shooed away. But no one understands defense systems like the dwarves.
A dwarf blacksmith who just happens to be standing in front of our gate?
That's right. I can see to it that orcs crack open their skulls on your gate, just like at home on the High Pass. Skulls that add up to hard cash for you.
You only know about the Secondling stronghold from books, but you can see in the man's face you've pushed the right buttons.
All right then. You can spend the night in the village. You begin work tomorrow morning, and it had better work like you promised.
Of course. It's a trifle.
Gotta hope I know what I'm doing. I figured I'd go along with it, you know.
After a meal, you spend the night in the comfort and shelter of a Goodwater tavern. The next morning, you feel fully refreshed. You strengthen the gate with cross braces of wood and iron, using your experience and skill. Now it should be able to withstand an attack for much longer. Mercenaries and villagers alike watch you work, clearly impressed. As you finish, a man approaches you.
Well done, dwarf. We were right to bring you into our village.
The village grew rich through bridge tolls, and this wealth must be defended.
I feel like they sort of did pay me by letting me stay there, but we'll try. Go for it.
I've spent almost half an orbit strengthening the gate. How about a bit of compensation?
The council member's face darkens.
We've paid for food and lodgings, and because we're generous, we've also thrown in the bridge toll. Good day, Mr. Dwarf.
Oh, fine. I thought so. So now,
An
Yay!
uneasy feeling has been your constant companion since you left Goodwater. Every little sound in the forest makes you fear you've been discovered by a horde of orcs. But you reach the end of the day without bumping into any of the greenskins. It seems as though Vrakas has granted you one more day in Girdlegard. As night begins to fall, you pass a large oak tree and decide to call it a day. Near the oak tree is an abandoned camp with a fireplace, which appears to be a couple of days old.
Probably set up camp in the oak tree, but I'm curious about these. Like, maybe we'll get into combat with some orcs, eh? Could go for combat. We're not really a fighter, though. Blacksmith. Well, we do have that really powerful ability, that tutorial, like, one-shot thing. So maybe with a bit of running around and using, I don't know, we'll see. Maybe it'll just be like a couple orcs. Or it might just be nothing. Oh, I don't know. I'm thinking 3 is probably the safe bet, but I'm gonna go for 2.
You take over the abandoned camp. Whoever slept here before clearly left again without any problem. You see that as a good omen, but don't want to rely on your luck and force yourself to stay awake. Some hours later, you jolt from an uneasy sleep, and terrified, you look around you. Relieved, you notice that the forest all around is just as calm as it was before. You promise yourself that this won't happen again, and look straight into the face of an orc who is holding a knife to your throat. Before you fully realize the hopelessness of your situation, you feel the blade cutting through your jugular. The last thing you see is a group of orcs baring their teeth coming towards you. Then everything turns black.
Damn! Okay, so that's the worst that could happen. Is the game over? Holy shit.